Marquee D.
Right, it's the Hawk with another episode of Was It Any Good? The show where we watch back a specific run of something that was happening in wrestling and judge if it was any good. We look at the promos that took place, the crowd reactions, the matches and the star power to make a decision on whether or not it was any good. And today, it's the blink and you'd miss it main event run of Billy Gunn in 1999. I thought this was a good time to make this video because Billy Gunn is pretty popular right now. He's actually got a bit of a buzz about him, and this dude's like 59 years old and he's in the shape of his career. Pretty inspirational stuff really. Anyway, the main event run began in May 1999. Billy Gunn was no longer with D-Generation X and he was on his own. He seems to be a heel with a similar character to that of Lex Luger. He's obsessed with how he looks. Over on Heat, he picks up a win which qualifies him for King of the Ring 1999. He has to beat Viscera, which he does. I'm not saying if this was particularly good or bad, because you would expect him to beat Big Vis, even if he is a former King of the Ring himself. At the same time, he seems to be in a feud with his former partner, the Road Dogg. Another former partner of Gunn's is Chyna, and they seem to be friends again. None of these things were exactly screaming out that we're on the cusp of seeing a main event run for anybody. Now, Billy Gunn is not a man who will be remembered for his promos. As part of DX, they only ever gave him one line when he told the crowd to suck it. And even then it didn't sound good as his voice was scratchy and breaking.
We got 2 words for you!
So I was interested to see if he would get any more promos as a main eventer. So far he keeps it brief on this run. In the build up to King of the Ring, Gunn is mostly wrestling on Heat. It feels more like they're building towards Chyna becoming the first ever Queen of the Ring. The only major victory I could find was a fatal 4-way elimination win over Big Show, Shamrock and Kane. Which sounds good on paper, but he didn't deserve the win. Let's call this good for now because maybe that's just what they're going for with his character. Just before King of the Ring, he steals one of the Acolyte's tag belts. I'm really not sure what they're going for here. And then he wears it to King of the Ring. Billy Gunn cuts a promo before his match, which is one of the longer Gunn promos you'll hear. It's not bad, but it doesn't get much of a reaction from the fans. His first round match is against Ken Shamrock, who has internal injuries. Billy Gunn is shown a nicer range of moves in this match, but ultimately there isn't much to develop him as a main eventer here because the ref has to stop the match due to Shamrock's internal injuries. It makes me question that if Shamrock is so badly injured, why can't Billy Gunn just beat him? The second round match is against the Big Red Machine Kane, a former WWF champion and a scary dude, so a clean win for Billy Gunn against him would really help things. The match is going okay. I like seeing Billy Gunn dropkick the stairs into Kane's face. It's memorable things like that which can help him make more popular and believable. But then the credit instantly gets taken away as the Big Show interferes and smacks Kane with a chair, helping Gunn pick up the win. And just like that, he's lucked his way into the King of the Ring final. The final will pit the 2 former D-Generation X members against each other, Billy Gunn and X-Pac. It's the best out of the 3 matches, with both men hitting their finishers, but also both kicking out. It ends after Billy Gunn hits the diving Famouser from the second rope. And with that win, he just kind of looks around thinking, oh, is that it? There's no celebrations for Billy Gunn, and he isn't even crowned on this pay-per-view. So ultimately it comes off a bit flat and pointless. It just feels like a normal match. Now it is rumoured that Billy Gunn was never the WWF's first choice to win this tournament. Hell, he wasn't even the second choice. Big Show and X-Pac were both originally penciled in to win the King of the Ring 1999, but executive had soured on the Big Show due to his weight issues and lack of performance since coming over from WCW, and X-Pac for his backstage troubles. So Gunn was kind of shoehorned in here and wasn't built up in any sort of way to win this. It certainly does feel out of the blue, but at least he's done it and won it, and things have got a lot of scope to improve here on. He does get to cut a promo on the next Raw talking about his King of the Ring win. Unfortunately, he spends more time claiming that he's a tag team champion, even though he isn't. He vows to no longer carry people in his career like Bart Gunn, X-Pac or Road Dogg. His promo is interrupted by Triple H and Chyna. They ask Mr. Ass to side with them because they don't think it's fair that they aren't getting any D-Generation X royalties. Gunn agrees, and he'll also face Bradshaw to see who is the rightful owner of the tag title. What the hell does any of this have to do with him being King of the Ring? Is he even going to have a damn ceremony? Where's his crown? But it gets worse because that same night he actually loses to Bradshaw. A man who Gunn really shouldn't have been losing to based on his spot on the card. And come to think of it, what was that whole stealing the tag title from Bradshaw thing about? It went nowhere. This is so strange. He does sort of redeem himself later that night when he attacks The Rock after he has a match and he hits him with a baseball bat, so at least it's association with a main eventer. But The Rock responds by calling Billy Gunn a nothing, a nobody and a peon. Let the Rock burying Billy Gunn commence. Billy Gunn isn't deterred by that promo and he attacks The Rock yet again, after he's had a cage match against Triple H. He delivers a famouser on the outside of the ring. It's actually pretty cool. Don't get too excited though, over on Heat, The Rock responds with yet another promo. The Rock completely destroys Billy here. It's the famous God promo. He does a high-pitched, whiny voice to copy Billy Gunn as he prays to God about being scared of The Rock. But for our purposes, the most relevant line here is,
Bob? But my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is!
It's a much-loved promo, and I'm surprised this was over on Heat. In terms of damage limitation for Billy, I hope many people didn't get to see this at the time because it's not going to do his main event chances any good being buried like this. Billy responds straight away, claiming The Rock is just jealous of him and his ass. It's not much of a comeback really. He doesn't lay into The Rock at all. He really needed a comeback here. Scrape it off your mum's ass. His first major match is a 6-man as he teams up with China in the game to battle X-Pac, Road Dogg and The Rock. They were warring over who owns the rights to DX. Billy Gunn was beaten twice in this match and had to rely on his partners to save him. But it gets worse because The Rock hits the people's elbow and pins Billy Gunn for the 3. It feels like it's already over before it's even started. Why carry on? And just like that, Billy Gunn and The Rock are going to have a match on Raw. But first, The Rock gets to cut another promo on Billy because apparently we haven't had enough burials yet. He makes fun of Billy Gunn for pretending that he's sick and he's going to shove a thermometer up his ass. Look, it must have been difficult for Gunn going against one of the most popular guys in the company. At least Billy Gunn has some new tights to celebrate his King of the Ring win. It's about the only way anyone could ever remember him winning that tournament. He has drawn a crown on his tights and this is the only crown he'll get. Well, the match against The Rock is alright and the ending is even better. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'll take it. China hits The Rock with a steel chair which leads to the famouser and the 1-2-3 for Billy Gunn. He has pinned The Rock and this can only surely be good news for him. Not amazing because it was far from clean, but good. These promos just aren't improving. We move on to the next pay-per-view which is Fully Loaded 1999, but this has nothing to do with the main event, it's more DX stuff. We also have to deal with Billy Gunn and China having matching tights. I wonder what Sonny Don't Look at My Ass Siaki thought of this gimmick. I preferred his crown attire. I know his gimmick is that he's Mr. Ass, but it's a bit hard to take him seriously dressed like this. Especially with the main eventers like The Undertaker and Stone Cold around this time. Gunn and China face Road Dogg and X-Pac with the rights to DX on the line. During this match they make a big deal to claim that he's no longer using Billy Gunn in his name and he must be referred to as just Mr. Ass. JR is perplexed and can't believe we have a wrestler called Mr. Ass. So after a pretty good win against The Rock, you'd think this one would be a walk in the park for him. Nah, Mr. Ass loses to Road Dogg. Why couldn't fucking China take the pin in this tag match? They no longer have the rights to DX. Gunn carries on hanging around with Triple H and China. He basically just does their dirty work. China is kind of his manager. A match was signed off for SummerSlam between Mr. Ass and The Rock. They were apparently feuding over who had the better ass. This promo here from Mr. Ass was pretty amusing. He keeps calling The Rock the people's ass, and he sounds genuinely a bit more relaxed and comfortable on the mic. But then The Rock gets to respond, which is never a good thing. And his promo just completely overshadows anything that Mr. Ass is capable of. I'm going to still give this a thumbs up, because at least it was a solo promo from Billy Gunn that was decent. Billy Gunn spends the next couple of weeks worrying that he has a rash on his ass. I'm not making this up. It's revealed by The Rock that he had a lady who massages Billy Gunn's ass, usually with herbal ass leaves, to switch to poison ivy leaves. It feels like a child wrote this storyline. At least Billy Gunn gets the final jab before the pay-per-view, when he makes The Rock smell his ass or whatever this was meant to be. But I mean, come on, this isn't going to make him a popular main eventer. It's pretty much just a Rikishi gimmick at this point. On to SummerSlam 1999, a Kiss My Ass match. The match goes on second to last, so it's a pretty big deal. Gunn makes his way out with a person under a cover. Mr. Ass reveals that when he beats The Rock, he will be forced to kiss this old lady's ass. The main thing I want to know here is, dumb stipulation aside, can we just have a good match here? Well, it turns out to be nothing more than average. It's pretty funny and the commentary had me laughing a lot, but the match itself is forgettable. Billy Gunn has his face rubbed in the large woman's ass, and then The Rock puts him away, pretty much as expected. But just because he's lost to The Rock doesn't mean he's quite done trying to make his main event run work. He next tries to sign up for a match for the IC title. But he can't find a pen, and he tells China to guard the sign-up sheet. Whilst he's gone, she signs it for herself. What a dumbass. Gunn tries to persuade his friend to hand the shot back over to him, and they seem like they're about to fight for it when a wild Slapnuts appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
He blasts China with his little guitar, and despite The Rock finishing his feud up with Gunn, he's still gunning for him. He cuts a promo saying The Rock against Billy Gunn, The Rock against Gangrel, who's next, the Brooklyn Brawler. He doesn't seem happy with his spot in the company at all at this time. All I can say is rest in peace Billy Gunn's career.
They are holding their finger on the rock. Badass Billy Gunn, Gangrel.
China and Mr. Ass decide to settle their differences on the third ever episode of SmackDown. Winner gets a shot at the IC title. He lost this 3-minute match due to interference with the game Triple H. Someone smacked Billy Gunn in the ass. He would have been way better off staying with a mold dog at this point. What happened next was a bit weird though. Billy Gunn turned face as he threatened Triple H and China. And it's probably the best promo I've heard from him during this run. He talks about their past together in DX. It gets a decent reaction from the crowd, but he still can't seem to resist to use the word ass every other word. The game decides to give Billy Gunn a shot at the WWF title. And just like that, we lead up to Billy Gunn's big moment, his only WWF title shot. The ref sends China away too, which can only be a good thing for Billy Gunn. It's the best match I've seen on this run. Billy Gunn twice has the game beat, once with a title shot in the face and once with the Famouser. But the refs are too slow to count. The crowd were willing Gunn to win this one, but he can't, and he loses to the pedigree. Maybe this would do Billy Gunn some good. Let's look on the bright side. He had a competitive match against the champion. But no, Gunn seems to still be feuding with China. He attacks her for completely no reason. Not sure why. But then the next week he comes to China's rescue out the blue and helps her beat the Holly Cousins. What is going on with his booking? The final match of his singles run comes over on Raw. Billy Gunn faces Chris Jericho in one of Jericho's very early matches for the company. And this is a good time for me to address the elephant in the room in this episode. Was it any good? The match quality. None of the matches are terrible, but at the same time, none of them, and I repeat, none of them would you ever go back and watch them again. They're all completely forgettable. Jericho wins this to wrap this up. Just a week later, the Road Dogg will return from an injury, and randomly he and Billy Gunn were friends again. I guess a hug sorts everything out sometimes. So the WWF gave up on Billy Gunn's singles push and put him back in his rightful place in the tag division. And you couldn't make it up. On their first night back as the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn pins Mankind to capture the tag belts. Why is he allowed to beat the main eventers now? Why? Who knows? Who cares? You could just tell from his King of the Ring win, they never wanted him to have it in the first place. There was zero effort made to acknowledge his win. No celebrations, no storylines, they just moved on as quickly as they could. Whoever decided on having him feud with The Rock clearly didn't have Gunn's best interest in mind. He got destroyed in a feud that everybody could see coming. Rock smack-talked him on the mic and then smacked him up in the ring. We'd been told by The Rock on at least 5 occasions that Billy Gunn was a nobody, and once their feud was done, he struggled to shed his jabroni stigma. The rest of the time, he just felt like he was playing third fiddle to Triple H and China. China went into an IC title feud and the game was in the WWF title picture, but Billy Gunn, he got nothing. His match with the game for the title was fun, but at the end of the day, it just felt like that time Gilbert faced the game. Or Taka Michinoku. Fans were always going to cheer for the underdog challenger, and it wasn't really a way to measure Billy Gunn's popularity. Because ultimately, throughout everything I've seen here, his crowd reaction was never anything more than lukewarm. I will say, a small positive I came away with is that Billy Gunn is maybe ever so slightly better on the mic than we all gave him credit for. Hell, he made me laugh a couple of times. Problem was he never moved past the comedy routine talking about asses. So no, the Billy Gunn push wasn't good. He would have needed more title wins to build him up and a mouthpiece to bounce words off of. And an opponent that could make him look better would have helped too. And that's my view, and if you don't agree with that, what you gonna do, brother?